namaste and greetings from Center for Soft Power. It's such a pleasure to meet you, Riccardo Misto. He's a
Pleasure.
musician from Italy. Thank you so much for joining us today, Riccardo.
Thanks to you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Um, yeah, it's recording. I just wanted to make sure. Could you please tell us about your music journey? And it started in Italy with a 4-year music therapy course, and then you later immersed yourself in Indian classical traditions. What drew you to Indian music and Nada Yoga?
Okay, I've always been passionate about Indian music, even at a young age, thanks to the Beatles, to George Harrison, who popularized the Ravi Shankar sitar music. I immediately appreciate the great emotional nuance that Indian music offers to the listener, thanks to the musical system, the monodic modal one, which clearly renders the emotional character of the musical phrases. I have been in India many times, Benares, Delhi, Mumbai, Goa, Agra, Jaipur, Cochin, Bangalore, Pondicherry, and I also got married in Calcutta
Oh,
at
how
the
lovely.
Italian consulate,
Okay.
and there I met the Sarodist Partho Sarothy, which is Ravi Shankar's favorite student, and with whom I began to study and then to collaborate. I have studied elements of Indian classical music, and I have specialized in Sarod with the master Vikash Maharaj from Benares, and then Partho Sarothy of Kolkata. And since 2007, we have played together on several occasions in Italy, developing a musical project which sees the introduction of Western instruments in classical Indian raga, fusing genres and styles. I played electric guitar, rebab, Chinese santur, many instruments because I am a poly-instrumentalist. I have started with drums and guitar, and then for my passion to India, the sitar, sarod, the oud, Arab oud, Afghani rebab, the veena, Chinese yanqing, santur, saz. So a great range of instruments, all strings instruments. And I have released 2 CD called New India Company, also with a Lebanese singer, a Romanian singer. And when I was studying music therapy in Assisi, in Italy, in the 1990, I was advised that of another yoga seminar in Italy by Sri Vemu Mukunda of Bangalore, which I attended, and his valuable teachings opened the doors to a serious discipline based on objective logical mathematical principles, which is very important because otherwise we are in a mystic way that is not accepted. Then I continued my studies with him in Italy, in Bergamo, at his 3 years course in Nada Brahma Yoga. For 3 years I studied with him, graduating in 1992. Then I continued working as a translator for his seminar in Italy. Sorry. And he invited me to give a conference concert in Bangalore at the Gateway Hotel for demonstrate the technique of overtone singing, in which he was very interested because he heard my singing techniques, and he understood the importance and the possible application, therapeutic application of these techniques. So I did this concert in Bangalore with Indian musicians. I played guitar and Chinese yanchin, and did this demonstration of overtone singing, and it was a very important step also in our collaboration. Unfortunately, Vemu Mukunda passed away on 2000, and we could no longer collaborate, but his teachings were fundamental to my personal and professional growth, because he opened the doors to a profound knowledge of this ancient way of using sound, music, also for therapeutical purposes. And I worked as music therapist for almost 40 years in a center for disabled people, applying some of his teachings and techniques also to the disabled people. And then I began teaching Nada Yoga in courses, seminars in Italy and in Europe. And for 20 years I have created an annual training course in Nada Yoga and Overtone singing music therapy. I had many students which they follow my teaching, the teaching of Vemu Mukunda, and I met Arnab Vishnu Chaudhry in Vienna, because in 2014 I attended at the 14th World Congress of Music Therapy with a workshop on rhythm on the conical system of South India. Then I had a workshop, Yoga of Sound Music Therapy System, techniques acting on the autonomic nervous system in Vienna, as part of the scientific program of the 10th European Conference of Music Therapy, a symphony of dialogues. And there I met Arnab, and I formed a great friendship that led to numerous collaboration, both musical and professional. We have made many videos for, I've played my instrument in many of his soundtracks for ballet and documentaries. And also in 2016, I held 3 workshops on Nada Yoga at the Auro University in Surat with Arnab. They invited me to do this workshop, and I also spread the overtone singing techniques, playing with the tabla of Arnab, and the conical system of which is an important part of Nada Yoga techniques, has many application for many problems. And this is an interesting meaning that to the term music therapy in Nada Yoga, because everywhere, but especially in Italy, there is great confusion about the role of the therapist. Who is the therapist? Who is the musician? What is music therapy? In Nada Yoga is very clear. because therapy for Nada Yoga consists of the removal and transformation of so-called emotional energetic blockages, which are the root cause of many physical, physiological, and psychological problems. This transformation is achieved through sound, vibration, music, and in Hatha Yoga, for music, we mean organization of sound into disciplines based on mathematical level. It is very important, and body awareness, we call consciousness, body consciousness. These are the three founding elements of Nada Yoga: sound, vibration, music, and body consciousness. We use
If I may interrupt, if in your opinion, what is the essence of Nada Yoga? In your experience, is it a philosophy, a practice, or a state of being?
or
A state of being. Being.
Nada Yoga has many levels of applications. As I told, is a way to remove this energetic emotional blockage. When we feel emotions, negative emotions, many times during the years, these create a block in the energy flowing in the body. And this blockage then causes the problems, physical, physiological, psychical. So for the well-being, for the perfect state of body and mind, we have to find this blockage, and then with the mantras or therapeutical musical scales, bring in the surface these emotions and then transform into a new energy, which is positive energy for therapy and for creativity. Because creativity is the essence of our purpose in this life. And so when we are free of all our blockage, we have the mind clear, we have all our potential in the surface, and we can use for what we have to do in this life. And is a way to reach, to open the communication with the divinity, what Patanjali calls the Purusha, our true self. And Nada Yoga, the term yoga also is very important to clear, because for many people yoga is the asana, is a physical gymnastic, but in reality, if we look at what Patanjali says in the definition of yoga, he says yoga chitta vritti nirodha. And this nirodha is very important because many times nirodha is the space, the void between our waves of thoughts, the vritti. And it's like a window through which it's possible to come in contact with the true self, the divine, the Purusha. Therefore, yoga is equivalent to meditation, that is a greater awareness, expansion of consciousness. Nirodha has often been misunderstood as a block. It is often interpreted as if yoga consisted in blocking mental modification. But this interpretation could be could be accepted on a literal level, because Nirodha, when we use the dental Nirodha, okay, it also means cessation, elimination, but it would certainly lead to folly to anyone who attempt to move from theory to practice. Blocking the mind, its dynamics would be like closing all the valves on a boiler in which the water continues to boil. So it's very dangerous, also very difficult to actuate. But if you interpreted the cerebral nirodha, the latter would be composed of nir, which means without, and oda, brought. Therefore, it would correctly indicate that interval devoid of mental signals between one vritti and another, that empty space between one mental modification and another, in which consciousness filters, and in this filtering gives light to thoughts, allowing awareness of reality, whether internal or external. So, also in Hatha Yoga, we use a meditation through the sound, because all the techniques bring the mind directly in one object, and it's very important the use of the mantra Om. Mantra Om is one of the most famous, most known mantras all over the world, but also in India, Vemu Mukunda told us, it's now not correctly used, because we have lost the original purposes and the original formula. In his teaching, the mantra Om Aum is structured just for polish the mind, remove all the blockage and transform. Because normally Om is sung Om. In his way, in his program, Om, Aum is chanted in this way. From the tonica, bass tonica, to the octave. In this glissato, all the shrutis, all the emotions are bring out and transformed. So in the end, you have recollect a pure, polished energy. This is the real sense of mantra Om, in the original purposes, and in this way we are open to recollect to the Purusha, to the divine, to our true self. Otherwise, this blockage doesn't permit this communication.
So how do you sorry how do overtones relate to the ancient Indian ideas about Nada Brahmam? And could overtone singing itself be seen as a form of meditation, Ricard?
Yes, as I told, overtone singing is the most profound and inner sense of Nada Yoga, because it's not spread out to all the people. The Tibetan monks use these techniques in a particular way, and these techniques allows to harness the voice as a powerful tool for meditation, for the expansion of consciousness, and a precise and effective work on the subtle centers, the chakras. Overtones use the harmonics, these pure sounds, And in this way we can use the exact natural frequencies of sound, because in nature overtones are naturally tuned, but not like the system you can find in Europe with that catalogation of hertz for each note. It's a natural frequency different from the standard we use. So it's a way of use sound in a natural way. In this sense, we can use very effectively because are natural frequencies and not the standard for depending on the cultural way of divide the octave. And in overtone singing, you must be very focused on the harmonic to produce, to understand which harmonic you are producing, which interval are from the sound fundamental. So the mind is strictly focused on only one object, and this is the basis for all the meditative techniques. We can use sound, but we can use the imaging, we can use all the sense, as you know, also the thought as a basis. But we need one object very clear. And naturally, overtone singing bring you to focus on these harmonics. And the more you focus on the harmonics, the more you are on the mind in one way, and the more the harmonics brings life and is more clear, pure, and audible. And also, as I told, for the work with chakras, which are inner and subtle centers, the overtone singing allow to open and mainly to balance the three base chakras with the three high chakras, just because you can produce at the same time two notes, two frequencies, which that in a mathematical way we can assign to every chakra. So it is a very natural, very mathematical way to work on these subtle centers. And then there are other effects, important effects on overtone singing, because we can load the cerebral cortex, we can reduce the heart rhythms by about 3 beats per minute. We have the reduction of breathing rhythms, decrease in oxygen consumption, decrease brain wave activity. We can increase the alpha waves, which are very important. We have a reduction of general rhythms of metabolism and an action on the spinal fluid that reaches the brain, which in the many ancient texts is the Kundalini. And we have the physiological changes on the fascia, which is the connective tissue of the body, which plays an important role on the brain synapses. And we can create new neuronal synapses in the brain and strengthening of listening skills in modified states of consciousness. The most important is the slowing of time perception. The times seems to go slower. And when times go slower, you can see better, you can understand better, you are more present in your life, and so you expand your consciousness. So it's a very important tool, an organic tool for this effect. And I studied with the most important singers in these styles. In Italia, Roberto Laneri, then Tran Quang Hai, and in Europe, David Hykes, who create an European style. Because if you hear the Mongolian style, Humi, they are very stressing the vocal cords. It's not good for us. This style allows a great technical production, and it's not there is no problem for the chordal voice, and I have many application, also musical application in the car. And there are many application, both musical and both evolutive, transformative, meditative, and in a way therapeutical.
If I may ask one maybe last question, it's you're a multi-instrumentalist and you play several Indian string instruments, and most of our instruments they follow the Gayaki style, where we follow the voice. So the instruments also are imitative of the singing tradition. So when you play the instrument, where does the therapeutic role, how is it, done if it is through an instrument?
Oh, in the using Indian instruments, we can. There is an important use of microtones, as you know, in a different way from Western, where there are the standard notes, rigid notes. In this way, and in the vocal singing, you use many of these microtones, and the instruments follow the same way, the same path, which allows to bring out these microtones, which are an expansion of the emotional quality. For us in Europe, in Western music, they seems like not in tune because we have these standard roles, and when you go out of these precise roles, you are not in tune. And this is a very interesting aspect. But with the glissato, you can touch many frequencies, many shrutis, and there is no problem of intonation because you use as a gamaka. And all the Indian string instruments, I use mainly the Sarod, and Sarod has no frets. You have this fingerboard where you can easily produce this microtone, this glissato, and work in a very powerful way to bring out all the emotions, all the deeper emotion, and also with the voice. I told you the Aum system with this long glissato, and it's follows this sense. The glissato allows to bring out many frequencies, many aspects of emotions, which we use and which in our life. And
what do you see as in your collaboration with Indian musicians? How best are the two systems brought together for music therapy?
for music therapy, it's important to here in Italy, in Europe, to find the personal tonica of the the people, the patient, or the students. This is a very important aspect of Nada Yoga, as Vemu Mukunda said, because every people speaks in the speaking voice, produce notes. If you use an instrument tuner and see when you speak, there is a production of notes, of frequencies. But there is one fundamental frequency, which in Hatha Yoga we physically collocate on the navel, which is the tonica, which is the personal tone of the people. So we have 12 character, because every tonica has particular aspect in the character, attitude, and working with the personal tonica of the patient, we can reach more easily in a precise way all the physical and emotional point, because we work on the basis of his personal sound.
Okay.
This is very important because produce a very strong action of sound of all the techniques. So when we find the tonic of the people, we can impose all the techniques on the basis of his tonica. All the musical scales that we use for specific emotion, we use the tonica of the patient. So we have a more precise effect. It's how to have a clear photograph with all the point, a good resolution. We work on the sound of the people. And knowing the relationship between the personal tonica, we can find if there is a good aspect of collaboration, of good relationship. Otherwise, for some relationship of tonica, as in music, there is a conflict, a contrast, and the people suffer for this aspect, because it's a different way of character which sound relieves. And therapeutically, we also in music work with the personal rhythm, because every people has a personal rhythm. If you want to find your personal rhythm, when you wake up in the morning, but without any movement in the bed, just taking the glass, you calculate how many pulsations I have in a minute. Repeat this check. That frequency is your natural rhythm, in which you can do all the things with less effort and good effect. And also in music, if you work on this personal rhythm, also doubling it, we have a more powerful effect, because it's the rhythm of the person. So we have the tonica and the rhythm. In this way, we are more able to work therapeutically for the people, and also musically, to make more sense, emotional sense in what we do for the people.
Thank you so much, Riccardo, for
Thank
this
to you,
lovely
Aparna.
engagement.
Sorry, I write Apama. I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's
Aparna.
fine.
Aparna.
Thank you.
If you need some biodata, CV, or
Please,
other
could you
document,
share a few photographs of yourself? And if you have a small clip of music that you can share.
music, yes. I also send you the link for my
Yeah.
YouTube channel, where there are many examples of overtones and also musical aspects.
Just a short clip, maybe 1 minute of some music, which I can add to the video.
1 minute of music, I'll send you.
Please.
Okay, with what you prefer, with
Maybe an
instrument,
Indian instrument if you can give me.
something we have
Sarod.
done with Arnab.
Sure, sure.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
send also this. And if you need more materials, let me know and
Sure.
I'll send you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And a photograph or two, please. One
A
photograph.
photograph.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much,
much,
Vikash. Such a
Aparna.
lovely, lovely conversation. Thank you.
Thanks,
Namaste.
thanks to you. It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much.